Can authenticity be the ultimate success hack? In a world that's governed by algorithms and artificial intelligence, I think it's quite possible. I love this quote from one of my mentors, my most beloved mentors, which is something to the effect of when you're attempting to be somebody else, the person that you're attempting to be is not there, and who you are is not there. So nobody is there. And I love this quote because it kind of sums up, I think, a lot of what happens, especially in our time, when it's like you have YouTubers or Twitter people that are just playing to the algorithm, or just writing videos or writing scripts based on artificial intelligence, based on what the algorithm tells them they should be talking about. And so this conversation came up this week with my YouTube consultant and someone I work with that helps me create my titles and thumbnails. And I love working with this person. And, we were both just struggling this week, just the last couple weeks. We're both in coaching programs and pushing the boundaries, trying to learn and grow as much as possible. And we started having this conversation. We were both in a very similar place. He's in a coaching program as well, and so am I. And it's like we're both like having a hard time focusing. And I was talking to him about my struggle with this, and he's like, I think the challenge is when we try to be the other marketers, the other coaches, the other salespeople, all these people we listen to, you get so focused on the speeds and the feeds and the data and like the structure of it that you kind of lose yourself, your creativity in the process. And so I thought there was something to what he was saying. And so jumping right in, I think that I've talked in a previous video about the dip and how the dip can be an indicator that you're in the right place, you're on the right track, because when we start out with something, we're excited, and so we have informed optimism, and then we have informed pessimism. We start to go down, right? And it becomes really hard, and then we start to get some success, and then we have some momentum at the end, but that dip, that trough is, I think, can tell you you're being in the right place. And I think it ties into authenticity, and that feeling stuck or feeling invisible or feeling misplaced is a part of being authentic in a world that is very much governed by computers, algorithms, and AI. And so this conversation precipitated creating this video. And I think the moral of the story really is, what is your intention? I talk a lot about that. And authenticity is important because, like anything else, it requires intention. It requires you to set your compass before you jump into it. And so it's a long game, right? Like, I think when you look at the greatest of the greats, the most successful people in the world, when you look at Alex Hormozy and you listen to people's stories, when you look at Steve Jobs, when you look at even Tim Cook or Peter Thiel, just researching these people, you get a sense when you read their books or you read their biographies about how misplaced or invisible within society they at times felt. And I think that a lot of times we can forego who we are to assume an identity of someone that we are not to fit in when we were not created to fit in. And so playing the long game is the opposite of playing the algorithm. It's saying, I'm going to create content. I'm going to paint pictures. I'm going to run a business that I want to run. I'm going to live my life on my terms. I'm going to, as Myron Golden would say, I'm going to be me, and I'm going to let the chips fall where they may. And so what is the action item for this? Like, why am I talking about any of this other than to encourage you that if you're going through the dip, that you're not stuck, you're not going in the wrong direction necessarily. You might be on the right place, you're in the right place at the right time, on the right track. But the other piece is, I think the huge takeaway is using data as your guide, not necessarily your personality or your brand, right? And so things like vidIQ, for me, right, I can go in vidIQ and I can find out what are the top trending videos on YouTube, and I can like follow that to a T, and I can have vidIQ spit out a script, and I can read to you guys that script. But at what point, like, where does the human get lost in that experience, right? And so my videos to this point, I've been sharing with you guys conversations that I've had in my coaching programs, that I'm in with my accountability partners, things that in my personal life, like the lessons that I'm learning, I'm sharing with you guys in real time. And for me, this one is a little bit different because I don't really share the struggles as much, but the last couple of weeks has been really hard. And I'll talk about in a different video that I'll probably record today about how disruption follows intention and why that's so important and why it's true. But my encouragement is just to be yourself and let the chips fall where they may. When you look at people like Myron Golden or Gary Vee, especially Gary, they're so obviously 100% authentically themselves, right? Like, I don't know if Gary can like say a sentence without cursing. And not that that's a great thing, but like he's unapologetically himself. And the same with Myron, right? Like a lot of people don't like talking about biblical principles in the context of business, but Myron is unapologetically himself, and he has this huge following. And so my message is twofold. It's use the data, use algorithms, use AI as a guide, not to be your personality. It's not to replace you. And then the last piece is why, right? Like, why is that true? Well, there's no one like you. There's no one that's ever experienced all of the things that you've experienced at the same time, in the same way, with the same group of people. And so my belief in observing the world around me and also looking at biblical success principles is that I believe you were put here to serve a certain group of people that only you can serve. And so when you're pretending to be somebody else, whether that be another person or some algo bot, you're not able to serve those people at the highest level. And so I think authenticity is the ultimate success hack for you delivering the thing that you were put here to do. You making the stuff you were made to make. You were creating the stuff that you were created to create. So I hope that encourages you. I hope that if you're in a rough place like myself and my YouTube consultant, that you'll push through and that you can find your creativity, find your focus, and not feel pressure to be someone else. I'll see you in the next one.